we're back with the 8th edition of the Access to Success podcast, the Project Shine series. I'm your host, Saeed Al-Basha, and with me is author and coach Mike Diamond. Now, we've all heard that our network is directly correlated with our net worth, right? I mean, there's enough data out there to prove that it's fact, but the question is, how do we build our network? You know, and who do we invite? What do we do? How do we go about it? That's what we're going to be talking about today. And some of the things that we're going to go into depth in is how to create your own luck. I mean, everybody thinks that luck is just had. Well, I believe luck is created, and we're going to go into some of that today. And we'll touch on some things like how going for a walk in nature can actually unlock your creativity. There's a study done about it. It's super interesting. And also, we'll go into why you may not need a resume to get your next job. And we're just 1 month away from Mike D's world record attempt in his Run for Layla campaign. If you don't already know, he's going to attempt to run 30 half marathons in 30 days to raise money and awareness for a sweet little 6-year-old girl named Layla who has a rare disease, and we're trying to help her family to raise money to find a cure. So go to runforlayla.com to be a part of this journey. That's LAYLA.com. And I've put that link in the show notes as well, so you guys can donate and find the website easily. You could sign up for any of the runs or the races, or if you just want to watch the video of what they put together to tell her story. So enjoy the show. Go to the website after to see Layla's story, and who knows, you might even be able to grow your network by just being a part of Team Layla in August. All right, you guys, let's get networking. Man, we always have a good time here at Project Shine.
Try to.
Yeah, I don't know that there's been one that I haven't enjoyed yet.
I'd hate to think that I leave and I'm that guy. Like, fuck, this guy again.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about some of the inner dialogue and some of the inner things that we could focus on. We haven't touched on external things yet.
No.
We've talked about how to perceive them, but that's an internal thing. So let's talk about something external that we can actually take control of and use it to our advantage. And I hate the word use, but it fits. But do you believe that your network is your net worth?
That's a really good question. I do. Because when I came to America, there was no internet. There was no point of reference. Australia was a place where if you watched a movie, if a movie came out in America, it came out in Perth, where I was born, like a year later, 2 years later. I was so behind. It was the dinosaur era. So I was really good at... All right, so this is what I used to do. So years ago from my suburb, and I didn't come aware of this when I was... until recently, a friend of mine who come and lived with me in New York when I had the club of Velvet Revolver. And he was like, you're always really a good networker. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, used to get us into the clubs. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I did. He's like, no, you used to run the place after a while. I'm like, what do you mean? And I remember back. So if I walked by a bar or a club and it was packed and there was no way to get in. And in Australia, there wasn't VIP stuff. It was just a line down the block. I would linger around the front and I would listen to people talk. And I'd get to know people's names, but I'd never go in the first few times. I'd just listen. Oh, that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy. And then I'd try to hear where they'd say, so this one club called the Aberdeen, it was a bar, there was thousands of people in it. I heard this guy, Jim, say he trained at Gold's Gym. So I figured out there was only one Gold's Gym in the area near there. So I'm like, that's where he trains. So I went to the gym, got a membership a couple of times, and then I see him. So I was really confident, right? I didn't give a shit. So I walk up to him and go, yo, what's up, Jim? And he looks at me and he's training, big dude, big juiced up. He goes, hey, man, do we know each other? I said, yeah, you let me into the Aberdeen. He's never let me in. He's like, I do. I go, dude, you're always so nice to me. He goes, dude, I'm so sorry. What's your name? I said, Mike. Now, I always leave an impression with someone. He's like, what do you do, Mike? I said, I'm acting school. I'm at acting school. I'm studying. He goes, awesome. I'd love to be an actor. I'm like, dude, you're perfect. You'll be a great actor. Bang, I'm building rapport.
Yeah.
So the next weekend, I walk by and I purposely say hi to him, but I do not go in. I go, Jim, what's up, brother? He's like, Mike. So you coming in? I'm like, no, it's all good. We're going to another bar. And he's like, what do you mean you're going to another bar?
Taking offense almost.
So we walk by, and what do? He's a security guy. He's a bodybuilder. Now, I built some rapport with him in the gym. And I know he's a fitness dude. He's going to eat good. So I go to a place, and I get some food for him takeaway. I buy some rice and some veggies and some steak, right? My friend's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'll get us in this place every time. Watch this. I walk over, and I'm like, dude, we were just eating at the place down the street. Have you eaten yet? He's like, no. I'm like, dude, there's some food. And I go. I don't go in. I go back to that same gym later that week, and he sees me, and then he starts calling me his guy.
Yeah.
My guy, Mike. He's a fucking good kid.
Yeah.
Introduces me to everyone at the gym. But I was also smart enough to meet the owner of the gym and say hi to him. So I've built some rapport with the owner of the gym. I'm nice to people. So what happens? I walk by now 3 weeks later, dude, there's a line down the street. He grabs me. We go straight through. So now I'm in.
Yeah.
Right? Now, there's a system in Australia that don't tip. So what do? I go straight to the bar. I see a bartender that I like, cute girl, order a round of drinks, and what do? I leave a $20 tip. Even if that's all the money I fucking got, I give it in tips. So what do? I get drinks all night. This guy tips. No one tips in Australia. So now I've built the rapport with it all. So I go back to that bar. I get in, past the line, and I know a bartender. Then the bartender says to the manager, this guy Mike's really cool. So what happens? I make friends with the manager. So all of a sudden, in a couple of months, I've built rapport with those guys. Now, if I want to go somewhere else, all I do is say, where do you guys go after work? Or do you know anyone? And all of a sudden, within 6 months, I know every bar owner, every person. Like there was a place in Sydney that you couldn't get into, but I found out, it was called the Sugar Reef, that they had a cafe. So I would just eat at the cafe by myself. And then I'd see a cute girl. I say, hey, you going next door? They're like, yeah, we're thinking about it. I'm like, you want to go together? They're like, yeah, why not? And I walk in with a girl. And I get in. Then I get always tip. Now, years later, I used the same system when I came to America.
Yeah.
So when I landed in Miami, I didn't know anyone. So what I'd do, I'd walk Miami Beach with my dog. I was have music projects. I'd go into stores, get to know people, say hi, build rapport, and just built a massive network by talking to people and saying hi and figuring out like, hey, what are you doing? How you doing it? Then I started connecting things. I became a connector. Someone wanted something, I could get it done. How? I just get it done and I'd figure it out. Became resourceful. So to me, when I came to this country, said, would you rather have $1 million or the opportunity to get the green card? I got the green card. I didn't care about the money. It's the playing field. Get me on the same playing field. I'll figure out how to make it work.
Yeah. It's interesting your philosophy on resourcefulness, because what you built in that network is built strategically. You're not just walking around saying hi to everybody, which you can, but you do dedicate your time to a well thought out relationship, and with the right intention. You know what I mean? If you grow your network using, well, let's take it this way, growing your network with the right people. I think right now, today, 2019, we're very focused on growing a following, but we're not so focused on growing a network.
Well, it's like this, right? So have I made loads of mistakes? Yeah. But can I get to people? Am I resourceful? Fuck yeah. Can I get to them quick? Real quick. You can't buy my relationships.
Yeah.
I've put in the work. When I was in New York City, and I took no days off, and I would drive to pick people up from airports, and I would sit at concerts, and I would take them to the bars I was partners in, and I would sit there all night while everyone had a good time, and I would make sure the event runs spotless. I'll give you a perfect example. One of my good friends, John Eaton, I put together a showcase for myself when I had a band, and the club wasn't open. So I was the door guy at this club. It was a hot club in New York City, and it held about probably 1,000 people. So I said, I want to play a show here. And they're like, well, this is a dance club. I said, no, give me an off night. And they're like, a night that we're closed? I said, yeah, I'll cover the costs. I'm like, okay. So I got my band and 3 other bands. And I'm like, I'll sell it out. They're like, how? I'm like, I'll sell it out. Don't worry. If I have to pay for the room, I'll pay for the room. They're like, we love you. Don't worry about paying for the room. But I paid for the equipment, where the setup, I decked the room out. So what I did is every night I worked, I gave myself 6 weeks. I told people I'm playing Thursday night. And I put on some good bands that I knew were going to bring people. If you want to avoid the line tonight, buy a ticket to my show. Like, okay. They still had to pay to get in.
Right.
So they're buying a ticket. And they buy the ticket, they're going to put it in their fridge. Now, curiosity is going to kill them. Does Mike suck or will he kill it? But they're going to show up anyway. Mm-hmm. So my friend John Eaton came with a bunch of people, industry people at the time. He was he was the A&R for P. Diddy's rock label, and he'd worked with P. Diddy forever. I mean, John's the greatest human being ever. He's mentored me on some music stuff. He's great. So he showed up. The place is packed. And even the owners of the club are like, maybe we should do this every fucking week. Like, how'd you get so many people here, right? So I sold them. With my networking, I could shut it down. And then I was like, how many songs should I play? And he goes, it doesn't matter if you don't play anything. Everyone showed up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's how my philosophy was, like to network. So when I played the Mercury Lounge next door, I went and bought the tickets myself. I said, how many people to fill it? I said, well, I'll sell it out. Give me 300 tickets. I bought the tickets. Bought them myself. And then I went out and sold my own tickets. So I was packed. Like, who the fuck is this guy? So it's like, that's how you've got to think. And I base everything on the 6 degrees of separation. I don't meet you. Within 6 degrees, if there's something I want, you can connect me. Mm. You know, you've got to be able to go into yourself and figure out what you want, and then just be resilient at doing the work and building rapport with people, and just do the work that other people don't want to do.
Right. You know, it's incredible. There was a viral picture and story that was going around a couple of years ago. It was about this kid who wanted a job at this huge company, and he didn't know how to get to the CEO, because you don't just call him up and say, hey, I want to come work for you. There's numerous layers, the gatekeepers, the VPs, the people below, the number of interviews you have to go through just to get to the interview with the CEO. And the story has it that he dressed up as a donut delivery guy.
Brilliant.
Found out the CEO's name, of course, taped his resume to the inside of the donut box, went and picked up legitimate donuts, but came to the front door and said, these are for Mr. So-and-so, Mr. CEO. And I forget if he actually said, I have to personally deliver them, or if he just dropped it off. But one way or another, the box got to the CEO.
Brilliant.
Skipped the line. You know, he got to know that security guard that you got to know without going through the roundabout way of doing it. And that resourcefulness is something that it takes creativity, it takes effort, but man, if you can put that together.
Well, everyone's in the box, right? So let's look at it like this. You drive in a box, you live in a box, you work out in a box. Get outside the box, go for a walk.
Yeah.
Think outside the box. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So there's always a way in.
I have a hack for that too. I just read an article. So the article is about hiking in nature, as opposed to just walking around or running laps around your neighborhood and such. It's specific. They did a study. They took 30 individuals and had them hike in nature, and they took 30 individuals and had them do the same amount, same time, same heart rate in an urban environment. And then they were both asked to do creative tasks. The ones that were hiking in nature actually were able to complete and be more creative and have different levels of creativity. And so 100% what you're saying.
Energy.
Yeah. Get outside.
Get outside.
Get in
nature. Cut out the noise. Ask the right questions. You'll get the right answers. Mm-hmm. So what people don't do, like here's a perfect example. I respond to people. So if someone goes, I mean, a couple of tattoo shows, big fucking deal. It's not like I've been lucky enough to work with some pretty incredible people over the years. But the only reason I got to work with them is I just, like, you're a human being, I'm a human being. I know my shit, you know your shit, let's just fucking do it. So if someone's like reaches out to me, right, and asks me for something, or says, I read your book, you inspired me, or I want to get sober, and they got the balls to reach out to me, I fucking respond. I help them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if they need something, I've helped people get jobs. Like there was a time in Vegas where I've had people work for me that couldn't get jobs. And there's one guy, a good friend of mine, Aaron, that started off, no one was going to hire this kid, and I believed in him. And now he's one of the directors at the Palms, and they've redone it. So I've always been about figuring out how to get to the place I want to be. Mm-hmm. Now, was it timing or luck that I ended up in New York City when, like, my friends, Jason Strauss and Noah Tepperberg were promoters just about to break into owning places? Was it timing and luck that a guy named Michael Alt, David Sauna, and Tony Theodore found me and gave me a position at Chaos, and then that changed my life by running the doors? Or was it they believed in me because I networked and I hustled, and they could see I was tenacious and I was willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done?
Sure. You can argue that there's an element of luck, but I think that luck didn't just happen. It didn't fall in your lap. What ended up happening is you put yourself in the position in order to be recognized and the luck to happen.
Well, here's the thing. They'd say luck is what? Preparation meets opportunity. I'm always ready to pull the trigger.
There you go.
So what that means is, say, for example, say tomorrow, literally tomorrow, that I have to go out and run 30 half marathons tomorrow for Layla. I'm getting it done. It may be ugly, but I'm getting it done. If I have to go out tomorrow and knock on 100 doors to find clients to feed my wife and kid, I'm getting it done. So I am prepared to build from nothing with what I have, because I believe that if I've always been a good networker. From a young kid, they used to laugh because I spoke to everyone. Even when my wife walks the dog, she's like, how many people do you speak to?
On your normal route.
Like I remember when I did in New York, and I went into a grocery store one day, and my neighbor said, I need boxes. I said, we'll just go to the grocery store. I goes, what do you mean? I go, well, speak to the manager. He goes, you know the manager? I go, I know the manager. Walked in, spoke to the manager. I said, my boy needs boxes. He goes, no problem. Walked him in. I didn't go back the second time. He's like, hey, man. He's like, what do you want? He's like, I've come to get boxes. He goes, your Mike's not with you. Sorry.
Yeah.
My postman, when I go to the bank, when I speak to people, but I don't have to try to say hi to someone. I'm not a person. I like to smile at people. I like to make someone's day. Like I look at someone, they're like, what's up? And they're like, I'm like, yeah, you having a good day? They're like, I never thought about it. Thanks. That doesn't take any fucking time to be a good person.
But it's so powerful.
But you know what? That's going to spike a little dopamine in that person's brain. And then they're going to be like, that guy's really nice. Then what happens? Chances are I'll see them again. But I've always enjoyed talking, building rapport, and building my network.
Yeah.
Some people don't. That's not a bad thing. It's just the way some people are.
Sure.
I like to do it. You know what I mean? So it's just, but if you don't have rapport and you don't have a network, unless you've got a job where you just, but even then, like, I think the best attorneys I know have the best networks. Mm. The best agents have built the best networks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The best contractors. You're up against jobs. How do you get the job? You got a good network. How'd you create it? Built rapport.
It's incredibly powerful. Once you have a network that, develop a reputation within a network, because you can build a network, but you could be the sleazy guy who like knows everybody, is now slimy, ripping people off kind of thing.
So it's really reference.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you create a great rapport and relationship with people, I have all right, I came to this country in 97. I have never owned a resume. Never fucking owned a resume in my life. Never created one. Never put together one. I mean, I put together websites and bios, but I never physically went out and said, I've got to get a job. I'm going to create a resume.
Yeah.
I never even thought about it. I just met people. A lot of the shows I've shot, I met the producer. The interview was on the spot. I met them through a friend, or I try to figure out. If I have a goal, I walk a lot and run a lot in nature, and I ask, and I open up and I synchronize, and usually I'll get inspired to call someone I haven't called, or just something pops up, and then I follow it, and then I don't question it. So I network around that.
What is it that triggers those thoughts or those ideas?
I think that's infinite intelligence and source energy. I think you've got to ask the questions and let the answers come. I think we block the answers. I think we're looking for an answer instead of allowing the answer to come. Do you know what I mean? You've got to ask powerful questions to get powerful answers.
Yeah.
And so you've got to ask, you've got to want.
That's a huge one too. You got to have the desire to go out and do the things you need to do.
There was no doubt in my fucking mind that I thought I was coming to America to fail. It wasn't even in my dialogue.
Didn't exist.
I got a one-way ticket. I burnt the boats at the shore. I got a one-way ticket. I said, I ain't going fucking back until I've reached a level of success this is a great story. So Velvet Revolver was playing in Australia. Scott Weiland had never played with Stone Temple Pilots, and they went to Sydney. And I flew out, hung out with Scott, had some epic. We shut down a couple of clubs together. I mean, there's a few people that rolled with us. I don't want to go into detail of the stories, but they were fucking epic.
Yeah.
Like, we set fire to places. And we were there for, I think, 2 weeks, and I was going to fly to Perth to see my family. And Scott pulls me aside, and he's like, look, I got to tell you something. I don't want you to be upset. I'm like, I'll be fine. And he's like, we cancelled in Perth. And I laughed. He goes, why are you laughing? I go, that's why I left. That was the irony.
Yeah.
I was partners in a bar with him and Duff and Brett from Fuel, and I opened it up to give the people the experience that I never had. I was never going to get growing up in a small town.
Yeah.
And I built such a fucking network in New York that it was the place. And I created it from just going out and I would take the worst night. Say it was a Tuesday. I had one of the best Tuesdays ever in New York for years, because I would take a Tuesday and say, anyone can come on the weekend. I'm going to take a night where no one's going out. And I would go in the area, and I would figure out who was in the area, and I would promote to them and say, come on, after work, come for a drink. And I would, every person that walked in, I touched. I spoke to them. I got them a drink. I smiled at them. I made sure the music, I curated the whole night. So what happens, it became my night. So you would show up just to see me, and I would put on a band and whatever the experience. 6 weeks later, you can't get in the door on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Then a celebrity comes in and plays, it's over. But I had to do the work. I did all the groundwork.
For sure.
So I've always been about building a network and busting my ass, but being resilient. I'm not going to let you tell me I can't do it. Like, I'm not going to let anyone tell me that I can't find a way to help Layla, and I can't create the resources. I can't, but I just don't live in that doubt. One person can't help us.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, I think we undervalue the 6 degrees of separation,
Yeah.
because you have to build something on your own. Nobody's going to do the work for you. You have to do the work, right? So start with where you're at and start taking steps towards that. Like you have a powerful way of visualizing what you want to manifest in your life. So if taking what I want today and I say, look, here's where I want to be, start connecting the dots. Who do I need to know? Who needs to know me? What skills do I need to have so that when I'm there, I need to demonstrate? What knowledge do I have to have? All of these things that you've done to get to where you're at have all been put in place by you. We'll take luck out of the equation because it has nothing to do with luck. I personally believe that the luck you have is the luck you create.
Absolutely. Well, got to remember, it's what you choose to see is the movie you play in your mind.
Right.
Because you don't really see with your eyes, right? It's a perception, right? Visual perception,
Yeah.
right? So what do you see? What do you envision? What's the movie you're playing over and over again? And that's what you... Like, here's a perfect example. Someone could say, I hear voices in my head. Okay, I'm going to hear those voices and do some crazy shit. Okay, what'd they do? Well, they get these people that hear voices and do these crazy fucking murders and stuff. Like, what were you doing? I heard voices in my head and then I acted this way. What voices were you hearing?
Yeah.
So why don't you flip that on its head and say, I hear positive voices in my head and these positive voices are going to make me do some crazy shit. What's that? I'm going to fucking, build a business and I'm going to go out every day and I can see myself just doing these things and building it. What's the difference? It's the same voice.
Sure.
It's just one person is positing some channel and some positive stuff. The other person's a psychopath. So what's the difference? It's perception.
Yeah.
Everyone's waiting for someone else to paint their picture.
Right.
And everyone's waiting. And I guess nowadays, unfortunately, because people have gained a certain amount of clout on, the internet and social media by posting videos and going viral and whatever it is, people think that I'll just sit there all day. That's not a bad thing. If you want to build your network on social media, go build it on social media. But know what you want and how you want to achieve it and eliminate any doubt that you can't get it, that you don't have the resources, that you can't build the network. Because that's just a lie. That's just a cop-out. You're just telling yourself, oh, I can't do it. I hate that. When everyone tells me, when people tell me, oh, yeah, but you're different. How am I different?
Yeah.
Well, I've got an accent, okay. And I look like I could go. I remember years ago, my agent said to me, "There's two characters you could play." She goes, "You could either play the yoga teacher, the Jesus guru guy, or a terrorist." And I'm like, "Okay, thanks a lot." What character do I want to play?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, I believe I don't care where you come from. If you're not prepared to build the network and build rapport, even if you've got that, silver spoon sparkling. All right, here's a perfect example about network. Kim Kardashian started off, wasn't she, I may be wrong, styling bedrooms or wardrobes for celebrities?
I think she was an interior designer.
Something like that,
yeah,
right?
or a personal shopper or
something
like that.
like that. I don't know, but I'm aware of it.
We're in the ballpark.
Now, her dad was on the OJ
He was one
team.
of the attorneys. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Paris Hilton started off way ahead of the curve, and Kim was friends with Paris. Now, let's not be negative here with Kim about some of the stuff she did and with Ray J, whatever. So what? She did that. Don't beat the girl up. Kim has built a better network and net worth than Paris.
Right.
Her sister is now a billionaire and makes more money than L'Oreal, but she's been around for how long? I don't even know, hundreds of years or whatever.
Right.
Off Instagram. That's networking genius.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to be able to take what's current and then network within that. Now, I'm on social media. I use it. I don't live on it. It's not something. I'd rather meet people personally. I'm a personal guy. I'd rather do these things, which is more personal to me, and then put it out on social media. But if that's how that person builds their network,
And so be it.
yeah.
Social media is the tool, though. It's not the network. You know what I mean?
No,
It's
but
a
people
social...
are clever enough to use their social media to build a network.
Right. And you can, nowadays, because of social media, there's that 6 degrees of separation can be dropped down to 2 or 3. Because you can actually physically touch the people who are putting on things that you want to be a part
and
of.
go and direct message people all day. Someone may
Exactly.
get back to you. What happened? There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But look at this. Exactly. Sorry, go
I was going to say, take the top 50 people that you want to approach for whatever. If you want to be a part of their team, if you just want to be inspired by them, whatever it may be, and send them a thank you message. Thank you for being so amazing. Don't ask for anything. Just thank you for being so amazing. I'd be honored to be a part of your network.
Well, how about this, right? So regular publishing deals, the publishing company, people don't usually make money. Write a book, put it out on Amazon. Build your network.
Now you're an author.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there was so many rules before about how people should meet people, how people should do things. It's like the music industry was run. It was like a mafia. An album would come out and there was one song that was good. And then the music industry got flipped on its head because they were like, oh, Napster will never work. You're copywriting and downloading. Well, obviously, they should have got ahead of the curve because that's what people do. You download music.
Right.
You don't buy CDs. You download music.
Right.
So I believe that you have to know what you want and create a solid network. And if you build rapport and you keep, you're good to the people in your network and you really know what you want and what you want to achieve, and you always come back to that mission statement, you can achieve anything. But without a network, you're not worth anything because all the money in the world, you've still got to get shit done. So you may have $1 billion, right? And you don't know anyone, and then what happens? You get ripped off. You try to build this, you try to build that, you try to do this, but you have $1, but you know people that have billions.
Better story.
And you know what? If you're resourceful, you'll know what to create and then go to the people that invest in you instead of spending your own money. Because what do all smart investors do? No, they go to people to invest. Right?
Yeah.
Go to people. Put a little bit in, but go to someone else. So, yes, I do believe that your network is your net worth.
Beautiful. We'll take it out with that.
Okay.
Hey, don't leave yet. Not until I make sure to say thank you for listening and being a part of the Access to Success community. Our goal is to educate, motivate, and inspire you to achieve the things that you set out to achieve. So if we're doing that, let us know about it. For every comment, for every tag, for every post, we get a little more fuel to keep us going, to give you guys more of that amazing content, to fill your day with the things and the tools you need to succeed. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from all of you, and I'll see you next time on the Access to Success podcast, Project Shine.